Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. We're just gonna kind of hang out here for a minute, give a moment for people to join, and make sure all of our audio levels are on par. So please chime in. I'm here with Ronnie B. How's it going, Ronnie?
What's up, everyone? Doing great.
So as always, we're usually whenever I hang out with people on Skype, they're from all over the world, so there's always a really long delay. So please excuse us if there's long pauses or if we accidentally kind of step on each other or something. But this one should be a lot of fun. Um, so I guess while we're waiting for people to start, I feel like I should tell the story of how I even know what this movie was, because it's just something that was so weird and unique to me. But I was got to be friends with this Hungarian kid in Connecticut where I grew up, and kind of his family and his friends and everything. And he went on vacation to Hungary one time, and he comes back, and he's saying, "Oh, you have to watch this movie. You know, it's amazing." And he puts on Taxi One, and but it's dubbed in Hungarian. Obviously, it's a French movie, and there's no English subtitles. He's like, "Oh, you got to look at this car chase," and we watched the car chase, and I was like, "All right, well, now I got to know what's going on." And he's like, well, I mean, the guy, he's got his girlfriend and everything else. I'm like, well, translate it. You made me watch it. So my buddy was kind of animated and he liked to exaggerate, which turns out that's the perfect combination for somebody to translate a movie to you in real time. So we ended up going back to the beginning and watching the entire movie with him translating what everybody was saying. And he actually got all the jokes right and everything, because when I eventually bought it on DVD, as well as the second one, I think I bought like three different versions, and the subtitles were slightly different in each version. And the last one I got, they got them right, and my buddy actually got all the jokes right, and a lot of the translations didn't on the subtitles for the DVD, which is kind of funny. How about you? When did you first see the first movie, Ronnie?
That's I actually saw it in a theater back in 99, was
Oh,
it?
really?
Yes, because in here it was a huge deal. It was by Luc Besson, so that's the guy who directed The Fifth
Yes,
Element,
and
right?
The Transporter. Both are excellent movies. He's one of my favorite directors.
Right. But I guess he's the writer in Taxi, and not the director.
Yeah. So I believe he was credited as a producer. So he wrote the first two movies, and then I think
Oh,
he had input on all of it, because it's even though the director was somebody different, it definitely has his style of pacing music to go along with the action scenes. Exactly like The Transporter. So he
exactly.
definitely had his hand in that one. But you're right, he didn't officially direct it.
I remember his name was all over the poster,
Yep.
like Luc Besson and then Taxi. Um, but yeah, it was great. It was like I mean, the year 1999 was so great in movies. I remember watching The Matrix, and then
Hmm.
Taxi, and then what else? Some Arnold movie came out in 99. Was it End of Days? I remember
Oh
I watched
yeah.
those back to
Hmm.
back,
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie since it
and
came out.
definitely, yeah, same here.
Huh. All right. Well, I wanted Ronnie to be on this for a couple of reasons. First, because he'd seen the movie, and because he speaks and reads French, and I do not. So if we run into anything in the translations, then he'd be able to help. And also because I've wanted to do something with Ronnie for a long time, and we keep delaying it because I always want to plan a music project along with it as well, and then I never have time to get into music anymore. We do have some fun stuff coming up. Ronnie's helped on two smaller things already, one of which is already out there, but there's gonna be some fun stuff coming up, music related. But I definitely wanted to hang out. But I always wanted to make a big deal about it. Like, let's do a song together and then do a podcast interview and like promote all of it at once. But it keeps getting pushed aside because real life tends to get in the way sometimes.
Yep. And that one thing that's coming up is definitely Arnold related too. So
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, so Derek's here, the person who actually did the translation. That's pretty awesome. So we should get started
oh,
kind of
awesome.
soon. So Derek also suggested I go into the settings and I adjust a few things. He suggested I put the sensitivity down 2 notches. Oh, and there's a 50 hertz, 60 hertz. That's pretty interesting. Okay. Save button to start. Let's see if it freaks out the stream. I'm getting nothing here. Oh, wait, no. It's back. There's just a delay. I was panicking. I don't know why it's such a long wait to switch modes like this.
Someone in the chat is asking if that's a port of the PS1 version. Actually, it was released on PC as well, but I'm not sure about the chronological order. So
Yeah, well, this is funny. I don't think there's a way to get out of this then. Uh, I could reset the Dreamcast with the DC Digital. Now, the last time I reset the Dreamcast, my voice went crazy. It changed the pitch of it. I think it was related to the cam link. So, anybody in the chat, if I just messed this all up, let me know. Derek says, "Don't blame me for the mode switch issue." All right, so we're gonna just leave it at 50 hertz then. Whatever, it's all good. I'm playing on a 20L5 as well, so I'm able to. It should be compatible with everything anyway, which is another cool thing about these monitors is it's not just cool for RGB stuff, but that you could also do PAL, NTSC, 50, 60 hertz, all that stuff.
exactly. Can you run us through your setup right
Yeah,
now?
it's just a Dreamcast with the VGA going into the 20L5, and I'm using Martin's BKM 129X replacement card that has a VGA input, so I don't need a sync combiner or anything. And then it's the DC Digital's built in, which is going to an Epiphan DVI to USB capture card. And I have HQ2X turned on because I really like the way the smoothing looks for these style of games and stuff like that. All right, so let's go back into
Nice.
settings and let's only touch the stuff Derek suggested and not mess with not mess with anything else. So he says bump the sensitivity down 2 notches. Confirm. Um, and Daytona style controls apply here, so hold forward on the D-pad while steering, and you should be good to go. So
Mhm.
let's try this thing out then. Now, I already tried it just to make sure it would work, and this is not the greatest game, but it certainly seemed worth playing, and I'm really happy they translated it just because the tie-in, the movie, these fun FMVs. It doesn't look too bad for scenes for compressed FMVs like that.
Yep, exactly.
Derek says all of the original FMVs were as bad as the re-encoded ones. They tried to improve them with no luck, but all right, so here's the only thing that was kind of confusing when I first started playing this. Um, there's a timer up top, and there's no way to know where to go, and you're supposed to follow the arrows, but the arrows don't come till later on in the level, so it's kind of interesting. And there's a few different modes. I usually like the mode behind the car, but there's just kind of a bunch of cool stuff going on with the
Yep.
dashboard in this.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of hoping they'd have the music from the game in here, or from the movie, but I guess they didn't have the money to pay for the licensing. Ooh.
Licensed. Mhm.
So I guess that bar in the upper right is the amount of damage the car could take until you explode and have to restart the level. Ooh.
The graphics definitely remind me of something I would play on the PC that's supposed to have 3D acceleration, but doesn't.
Yeah, it totally reminds me of that. All right, so here's the first arrow. So it's kind of crazy taxi-esque in that, but I don't think you're actually picking anybody up in this. I think you just follow arrows and drive around.
Mm.
Ooh. So I guess when there's a fork in the road and you don't see the arrow, that means that you can go in whatever direction you'd like. Ooh, I keep crashing.
I was actually expecting it to follow the Crazy Taxi formula more closely. But
Ooh. Oh, I guess I just didn't make it to the checkpoint, so I'll give this one a try. Um, so is there a Derek, is there a level that's stands out as better than the rest? I'll try this one more time. But if there's anything there or any scenes that are absolutely worth watching, otherwise I would probably just play each one of these once and see what it's like. Let's try the different views here. What does everybody think? This view better or inside the car?
I like this view a bit better, although the car doesn't look like a Peugeot 406 at all,
No,
but
it doesn't.
I'll take that.
Other than the logo, but that's pretty much it. And even that's questionable. So I guess there's other people in the chat that had worked on this project as well. I'll try to pay attention to that as much as I can, but feel free
Oh,
to jump in if you'd like, Ronnie, and see if, what any of them have to say.
sure.
Oh, so that's what happens if you go the wrong way, and that's what happens if you crash too hard. I was doing that the whole time
Oh,
yesterday. So, um, Derek says the cutscenes are the only redeeming quality, but you have to beat a level in order to unlock it. All right, so this is gonna be rough then. So I can't. That's right. I can't go to any others. So I got to at least try to beat this one before we go to the next. Well, I hope I don't embarrass myself too much.
oh,
All
okay.
right. It's funny too because it also said I didn't have a VMU in, and I did, and I even just put two brand new batteries in my VMU. So I don't know if it's the game because there's a region difference. It's having a hard time reading my VMU. VMUs are region free though, aren't they?
I guess they are.
I wonder too if this is kind of like other racing games where you like the if you pick a different path when the arrows aren't there, some are easier than others.
Hmm.
Like the first time I played it, I went right. Last time I went left and died almost immediately. So I'm going right again here, and I don't know if this is easier or Yeah, it does feel way easier than the left one.
The second movie takes place in
Hmm.
Marseille, which is in south of France. I wonder if is there a Taxi 1 game that takes place in
I don't think
Paris?
so. That's a good question.
I mean, I like those narrow streets.
Ooh.
They remind me a lot of the chasing scenes in the movie,
Yeah.
but there's no chasing
No,
in
there's
here,
no
so.
chasing, and the it's like the same buildings repeated over and over.
Yep.
I'm surprised that Ubisoft would release something like this. Because I mean, this is kind of fun, but like, there's just a million little things about it that could have been better. Um, uh,
Yep.
just small little tweaks.
You know,
I don't.
they could have gotten away with a Crazy Taxi ripoff, in my opinion.
All right, so I guess that was a roundabout I was supposed to go around. Hey, what's up, Eric? Eric, beer money
Oh,
from Ireland. Thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. I'll try to move it along and do better at this game so we could see another level. I'm not very good at video games, but I'm usually a little better than this. I would like to at least see one more level in this too, because it's just I absolutely loved all of the movies. 3 was pretty good. I actually thought 4 was better than 3, but 1 and 2 are just some of my favorite movies, and it's all because of the actors in it as well. You know, it just they played their roles so perfectly in this.
yep.
I always love it.
Oh,
Mhm.
Joshi just corrected me. All the movies take place in Marseille. Okay.
Oh, really? Huh.
Mhm. Taxi 2 ends in Paris.
That's right.
Cool.
That's right. I always loved all the scenes where something absolutely insane would happen, and Daniel's just laughing and smiling through the whole thing. The actor plays it really well. Didn't he go to jail for a while? I
Oh, I
think
don't
he
know.
stabbed somebody in a nightclub and ended up going to jail. Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this car doesn't turn around very well.
I like how in the movie he's always wearing that French football
Yep.
team jersey. The French team was huge at a time back in the late
Mhm.
90s. They had won their first World Cup in '98 in Paris. So it's the I guess he's wearing the Zidane
Yeah.
jersey. That was the equivalent of number 23 Jordan in the 90s. So Chicago Bulls
And in
jersey.
the
So
opening scene of the second one, they I think he uses the same number, like, and they call him out right in the opening scene, like 23, 23 like Zidane.
oh, okay.
In fact, it's kind of this scene, although it's not, in the movie, they have to cut through where a race is taking place in order to get to the hospital to drop the
Oh,
pregnant lady off. So it's kind of a fun
yep,
thing.
yep.
Ran out
Um,
of time. All right,
actually, there's someone. So it's LACC 64. We had a 4 month development time at most, I think. Wow. Okay.
on the game or on the translation.
Yeah, I'm guessing the game.
Hmm. All right. I gotta get this. There's people watching. I don't want to let everybody down. It's it's funny too because it's if I was just just playing the game, I'd probably be almost as bad. But when I did the live stream with Nicole and I'm playing the game with the developer that created it, every time I started to mess up, I kind of was like I had that feeling like everybody's watching me because I'm like, oh man, the developer's here looking at me. I can't mess up, and then I'd mess up more.
No, that was a really cool game, by the way. The super graphics
Yeah,
game.
yeah, I was impressed. The graphics were neat, and I like puzzle style. I don't usually like games where the entire game are puzzles, but I liked that one definitely. I guess I'll try to use the brakes more often. I'm just afraid with the controls in this that if I jam on the brakes, it's just going to spin the car out, but we'll see.
The translation took us less than a week.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
Okay, so LAC64, I assume you developed the PS1 version? Because he's not aware of a Dreamcast or PC version.
Oh. Yeah, I wasn't aware of
Okay.
any version at all until I saw, I'm not sure how I even saw Derek's tweet, to be honest, but I saw it pop up and I just went, holy crap, there's a game based on the movie? And we got to talking, and then he had found my tweet from about 3 weeks earlier asking people if they had HD versions with English subtitles, so I could watch with my friends. Because at this point, I pretty much memorized all of the movies. But when I want to watch them with people, they have to be able to read the subtitles to understand it. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, 10 seconds. Am I going to make the checkpoint? Yes. All right.
Great. That was an outrun moment.
Yeah. I didn't crash the car again. All right, come on, around. All right, this is as far as I got last time, so we're in new charted territory here.
Not really Uncharted since it looks like exactly the same.
Yeah, the only difference was the roundabout in the middle.
All right.
Ooh. You know, a lot of games from the NES era were, they wanted to make the games challenging and longer, and they weren't really, they weren't very long games to begin with, so they kind of made them harder on purpose, so you'd have to play the same levels over and over, master them, and then be able to, to get as far as you wanted. And I got it. I mean, that's kind of what they had to do at the
Right.
time. But now, with games like this, by the time Dreamcast came out, it's like, at least let people be able to beat level 1 without having to play it a million times in a row.
Exactly. Especially in the arcade racing genre. I mean, the genre is about booting the game, playing for 5 minutes, having super fun, then turning it off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could totally do that with Crazy Taxi as well. You just turn on the game, pick up some people, crash
Yep.
some stuff.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh man. All right. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. If anybody else is playing this game before and has any tips, I'm all ears. Oop.
Oh, so apparently the developers were not proud of the game.
Oh, really?
Okay. Um, oh, okay. They're not proud of the music, the FMVs, and the terrible gameplay.
It's understandable though. You get
Oh
to a
well.
point where, you're working for a company, the company's under a deadline, you're working on a big game that's going to be released globally, and then you're working on a regional game that's only going to be released in one place. It's, I understand you got to cut your losses and just get it out. I have videos like that where I was just like, you know what? I have 30 hours into this video. There's nothing wrong, but it's also not good, but whatever. I got to just put it out. So I totally understand. There's nothing to, nothing to be ashamed about. It is what it is. It's not like it's a Super Mario Brothers title that you're supposed to spend 10 years working on, you
Yep,
know?
exactly. As far as I know, I guess that's the only exclusive French Dreamcast game.
Yeah, that's what it said on a few different websites. And it makes sense because I had never really heard of it at all, or any other exclusive games to France. It's usually just Japanese exclusives, and then occasionally PAL exclusives as well.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, the controls are a little sensitive in this, so I'm glad that Derek recommended that I turn the sensitivity down. I can't even imagine what it would be like with the sensitivity all the way up.
I always wondered what happened with the Daytona 2001 control. I mean, why do we have to hold up all the time? I mean,
Yeah, could you explain what that is? Like, why do you have to hold up all the time?
yep.
Let me back out and see if there's any.
Daytona 2001 is a super awesome game, but that's a very weird issue with it. I guess it's my favorite Daytona port.
So A is turbo. That's interesting. Okay. Horn does nothing, I'm sure. Let me try bumping the sensitivity down one more. Let's see if that helps or if it makes it worse. Derek said he's going to see if he can get me a completed VMU file so I could see all of the FMVs. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not working with my VMU. Um, and I went into the Dreamcast menu and it saw the 240p test suite on there. So, you know, the VMU is working, and that was the only thing they have on it. So it's not like I was running out of space. Oh, the controls seem to be a little bit better now. I'm still not understanding the hold up because if I do it where I don't hold up, it seems to
Yep.
be okay.
Because in Daytona, if you don't hold up, it's super sensitive.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels a little better with the sensitivity down like that. Let's see how it is when we get to the narrow streets, though.
You know, whenever I think about Dreamcast racing games, I think about flashy colors and very colorful environments.
Yep, that's absolutely right. That's the Dreamcast at its best. That's those like all those
It
'90s
had
racing
so.
games were kind of like that.
Mhm. But the Dreamcast had so many awesome racing games.
So it says A is turbo, but when I'm pressing A, nothing's happening.
You probably ran out of turbo or something.
I think that must be what the green bar is in the top right, but it's not really.
Oh, right. Right.
Right, that's the roundabout. Okay, so it's the second farthest I've ever gotten in this.
Yay!
I feel like we should play Yu Suzuki Works Outrun after this, just for just for fun. I actually never knew there was a Dreamcast version of Outrun. Oh, all right, one last try. I gotta get it, and then maybe we'll play Outrun for a second or something. But maybe Turbo is an item you pick up on other tracks. Yeah, that's possible. Oh, Turbo comes at level 3 and on, and not level 1 and 2. Okay, all right, that makes more sense.
Okay.
Oop, sorry, I was reading the chat. Let me restart this. I was reading the chat and missed it. Vivian said that reminds me of the also French exclusive game Paris Marseille Racing. Was that an exclusive Dreamcast title, or was that just an exclusive to all consoles or something?
Mm.
Let me try the view in the car and see if that feels any different for whatever reason. Probably not. I'll probably go right back to the outside of the car view.
So, can you use both the analog stick and the D-pad?
Yeah, but I just tried the D-pad for the first time right after you said that, and it's very weird. I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that.
Okay.
I'll wait till there's a... Oh, yeah, I prefer the other view. Yeah, the D-pad is not sensitive at all, so that if you touch the D-pad in one direction, it feels like it takes 2 or 3 seconds to move, whereas the analog stick reacts right away.
Okay.
Yeah, good thought, because there are some games that just play better with a D-pad like that. Like Outrun on the Saturn. Outrun on the
Exactly.
Saturn plays totally fine with the D-pad.
Yep. I actually try to use my what's it called? The big 3D pad for the
Oh,
Saturn.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a switch. You switch between analog and digital, and it doesn't work with every game. So with Outrun, that actually works, and it sucks when you're on the analog stick.
That's funny. I had one of those for a while, and I also had the Saturn racing wheel, because Daytona was one of my favorite arcade racers of all time. And the racing wheel was perfect for Outrun and was terrible with Daytona. I was really disappointed.
I'd probably say, like I just said, the Dreamcast version of Daytona is my favorite.
Yeah, I really like it. We'll have to fire that up too, just to compare them.
It's even better than the one that came out on Xbox Live.
You know, I did like that one very, very much, though. The Xbox Live one. It was also on. Wow, I didn't make it around the roundabout. Okay. There's some interesting hit detection there, because I could swear I was around that. My stick was all the way to the right, and I guess it doesn't like turning. Alright, keep going. Yeah, I really liked that version, and yeah, I had it for PlayStation 3 as well, and I think that was one of the games I played the most on the PlayStation 3.
Um, I have a question for the guy who did the translation. They couldn't translate the in-game commands.
I was curious about that as well.
Yeah, wrong way is still mauvaise direction. Is it? I don't know.
Okay, so I'm supposed to go that way. It's funny. I was just being cautious around that corner, but I think I had to. I don't think there was any way to actually drive around that corner. I think I had to inch around it the way I just did. And here we are, the same streets again. Wow.
Oh wow,
I didn't
okay.
even know.
Okay.
Huh. Uh, Traiano, am I saying that right? Yeah, Traiano Co wants to know what I think of the French translations. I've only got to watch one of the cutscenes. I'll throw it up again for people that are just joining. I'll let the cutscene play through again. But I thought the ones that I saw were perfect, and I thought the FMV quality looked good. Is it coming through? Yeah. All right. Good. Derek says he feels bad. Don't feel bad. This is amazing. I would have never been able to experience this if it wasn't for you. I wouldn't have even known it worked. It doesn't just because the game isn't that good doesn't mean all of your work isn't appreciated. All right. Final try to get it through one level. Unless I make a really stupid mistake, this will be the final try, and then we'll play some Daytona, some Crazy Taxi, and I don't. Did you ever play Outrun on Dreamcast, Ronnie?
No,
I
never.
never knew it existed until recently, so if I remembered to put it on my GDMU, we should try that as well, just because it's really interesting. Much like this game, I was
Is
shocked
it
when I found
in...
out that it was even made.
Yeah, same here. Is Outrun in 240p on the
No,
Dreamcast?
it's all new graphics, I believe.
Oh,
And they had
oh,
to
okay.
remove the Ferrari logo because of licensing issues.
I tried the one on the PlayStation 2, and that wasn't terrible at all.
No, the Saturn one, I believe, you could go into the menu and turn on a 60 frame per second mode that isn't even in the
Yep.
arcade, but it kind of makes the game feel slower. You know, the game was really designed with 30 frames per second in mind.
Oh, I fully agree.
Ooh. The guitar riffs in this song are just like every generic let's root ourselves in the, you know, the open E and then go down a scale.
You know, about that, I actually remember something from the 90s. I once read in a magazine. John Petrucci from Dream Theater um, did something, did a soundtrack for a Sega Saturn game.
Really? Wasn't it the Duke Nukem
Yeah.
soundtrack?
Oh,
Because I believe I remember
remember,
downloading his version of a song that was on something Duke Nukem related. Maybe anybody in the chat would remember that. Oh man.
actually, there's a Megadeth version of the Duke Nukem theme.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
It's on the Hidden Treasures collection.
Do you remember which song that was?
The main theme, or the name of the song. Wait, let me check.
Because Hidden Treasures, I loved that album. Diadems was such a weird song.
Yep.
I never figured out how to play it because they
Uh, it-
played both clean guitarists played something slightly different, I believe, and it always messed with my ears. I could never figure out how to
Oh.
recreate it.
Yeah, typical Marty Friedman
Yes,
sorcery.
exactly.
Let me check if the Duke Nukem theme had a name on the. Nope, actually, it's called Duke Nukem theme,
On Hidden Treasures?
I guess.
I wonder if that was a global release and
Let
I
me
didn't
make
get
sure
that one on
again.
the US release. I believe the John Petrucci one I'm thinking of is called Necronomicon, and it's the same type of.
Yeah, that's the one. Exactly.
Okay, so that
Exactly.
was John Petrucci.
Mhm.
I didn't even see where that car came from. I can't watch. It won't. It won't turn. It's odd. Oh, that was
Wow.
reversed. That one was my fault. But yeah, it's got a hard time turning. All right.
And the camera doesn't help as well.
So it's not letting me go, but maybe I was supposed to go around the building. I think that was it. All right. I guess one last try. One
Um,
last one. So now I know at the end that was the mistake I
so
kept making. I kept taking a right and being blocked, and because the red arrow said to go right, but I guess it meant after the second roundabout go right. What were you saying, Ronnie? Sorry.
I guess the Duke Nukem theme was on another Megadeth album, not Hidden Treasures. Let me check.
You were freaking me out because every once in a while I'll stumble across a song that I've never heard before. There's an American band called Still Remains, and I really liked them. And I remember being out in Michigan when they had their final concert, when they said they were just, politely breaking up, no problems or anything. And I was really, really
Mhm.
sick. I was out at a work function, and I just said, all right, I got to go home. I can't stay an extra day. I was going to just stay just for the show. And then I kind of stopped paying attention to them because they said that was their last show ever. And I just happened to look it up online the other day, and they got back together and had a whole other album. Like, what the hell? It was almost 10 years ago, and I never knew. So,
Wow.
yeah, I went and I bought the album, and it was okay. There was one really good song, and that was pretty much it. But I was shocked. Like, I really liked that band. How could I have not known? But
So Duke Nukem is on the Japanese edition of Risk. Remember that album?
yes, okay. And it just says Duke Nukem theme.
Yep.
I gotta look that up then.
Yep.
I distinctly remember going to the store, buying Risk the day it was released, putting it into the CD player of
Oh,
the
poor you.
old crappy car I was driving, and I picked up my girlfriend and a friend of mine, and we got through the second song, and she just burst out laughing, and she could not stop laughing. She's like, "It sucks. The album sucks. You've been waiting months to hear it, and it's terrible."
Oh my God.
I mean, Crush 'Em was a good song, but Crush 'Em served its purpose. It was supposed to be a sports anthem song, so that was totally fine. But the rest of them were pretty bad. Yeah.
Crush 'Em, that was the Universal Soldier song,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That had Bill Goldberg also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the story of that song made sense. I guess Dave Mustaine went to see a hockey game, and whatever music they were playing to get people pumped up, he was like, "This sucks. I want to write a song to get people fired up." So he wrote "Crush 'Em."
Yeah, it's not too bad, I guess. They had a new drummer on this
Jimmy
album.
DeGrasso. Yeah. He wasn't.
Yep. Yep.
I was about to say he wasn't very good. I, I think he's a good drummer. I think he just didn't really care because I saw them a couple times live with him, and they even did a drum solo, and it was a very unimpressive drum
Hmm.
solo. I was wondering why they even
Oh,
bothered doing one if he was gonna do something boring like that.
is it from the Rude Awakening
Exactly.
tour?
Yeah. So it's the same as the one on the DVD, pretty much.
Yep. Yep.
They have Dirk Verburen now. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's
He's the
awesome.
only drummer I've ever seen that could make a blast beat sound good. All right, here's that weird corner.
There.
And there's a faint sound in the background that almost sounds like an old school phone with a dial tone when it's been off the hook too long, and I guess that's warning me of my damage meter being down too low. I just noticed what that was now.
Oh,
Right. All right. So this is the part I've never gotten past, and I keep messing it up. So I think even though it's telling me go right, what it means is go straight. No,
and then
no.
right.
So if I went right,
No?
it was with
Okay.
the thing on it, and if I went left, yeah. All right. So we're I absolutely truly appreciate all of the work that went into this game, and I'm so happy that the developers did it. But I think it's time to switch to a different game. This was really cool though. All right. Derek said one trick he found was to not be fully on the gas at all times. Go slow to avoid crashing. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
O1 Phoenix said take a right and then immediate left into the tunnel. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even see a tunnel, to be honest with you. All right. Do I have it here? Do I have Yu Suzuki Works? I think I must have put that on my friend's mode when I was testing that. So all right, so I guess let's do Crazy Taxi just for the heck of it, just to go to a different taxi game, and then we'll play a quick round or two of Daytona.
Have you ever tried Crazy Taxi 3 on the
I
Xbox?
can't remember. I probably did because I had an Xbox, and a friend of mine worked for GameStop at the time, so she would bring home any game that they had opened up to demo, and we would get to play it. Because I guess if you walked into GameStop and you wanted to try a game before you bought it, they were allowed to open it. So any games that were open, she could borrow
Oh,
and then bring it back. Oh yeah, my little karaoke said, "Watch out for copyright strikes due to the music." That's true. Let me turn the music down. Sorry, everybody. I don't know. I'll just play a quick round of this just to see, and hopefully that All right. Hopefully this won't get caught. Why am I? There we go. I must have pressed the wrong button. Okay.
so weird playing Crazy Taxi without
I
Offspring.
know. And the graphics are so much different in this game than the last one. It's like it's almost like you're upgrading a console revision, you know? It's almost like you're going from PlayStation 1 to
Yeah.
PlayStation 2. That's so funny. Yeah, they should have just ripped this game off. They should have just ripped this game off with like
Exactly.
very basic, like, things
Yep.
from the movies. If you end up watching them, Ronnie, there's the opening scene of the second one is a classic, but also the opening scene of the third one. It makes no sense. It has nothing to do with the movie series at all, but it's absolutely worth. It's really worth watching. I think you'll cry. I don't want to spoil it, but I think you'll be pretty amused. Ooh.
I guess I need to watch the movies again to wash the game that you just write down.
All right. Well, this is cool, but without the music, it's a little monotonous. So let's switch over to Daytona, and I also want to play one other quick game right after that, just as a fun little bonus for anybody that was here for Taxi, because there's more Taxi games I didn't know existed. So we'll play a round of Daytona, and then I'll play that. All right. Day-
The 2004 Taxi, the American version of Taxi, is
Terrible.
it, I don't want to say it's okay. You said it.
Queen Latifah was good in
it's
it.
it's terrible. Uh, she's always
Yep.
good, but it's so bad that I just can't remember it.
Yeah, that was not a role for Jimmy Fallon. They missed the point. It didn't have the pace of the car races to match the music. It didn't have the entire crew. All of the actors were just so good in that, and it didn't have Queen Latifah was awesome, but it just I don't know. It completely and totally. Oh, I guess there is something wrong with my VMU. It says insert a VMU with at least 24 blocks of free memory.
Oh.
Anybody remember how to use these? Mode. Can you reset it right from the VMU itself?
Hmm. I don't know actually.
Yeah, it seems to be working, but it's not really. Maybe it's the controller. Is is there ever issues with controllers not reading VMUs correctly? Yeah. Oh well.
Wow.
Triano Co. I guess they didn't realize that was a remake. Yeah, unfortunately. All right. Let me just take one out. Oh, I love this game. That's so odd. This is a mint condition VMU as well. I just put new batteries and everything. I wonder what the problem is. I guess I forgot to check manual transmission, but okay. Daniel Black, you could delete saves on the VMU itself. Alright, thank you. I'll try to mess with that later. It's been so long. Like all the Dreamcast games I've played in the past few years, I've never had a save on it. It's like they're usually the arcade style games.
Yeah, exactly same here.
Alright, I'm using your suggestion of always holding up, and it's making it feel a little squirrely.
You'll get used to it.
I'm just going back to playing it, regular way. Oh, I see what you mean now. It twitches very easily.
Mhm.
I think I might have just played this game so much though that I think I'm just kind of used to it.
Oh,
What's your trick?
that's my.
What's your trick for going
Yeah,
around that
you were saying
corner? Like everybody has their own trick on how to get it.
the last
Yeah,
one.
this one right here coming up, the last one. Do you have like a trick that you do?
Okay. Yeah, so I hold the brake just a few. Let me tell you where. It's under the
Okay.
bridge. I hold the brake once there, and then right before the corner, brake again,
Tap.
like right here, and once again here, and
Ooh, I almost pulled it off.
uh, yeah,
That's pretty neat. All right. Well,
that's that's
so that's kind of an unfair comparison because that's one of the best racing games of all time. But I do want to play
totally
one other
unfair.
thing, just for fun. I think other people will enjoy. Let me just switch over my HDMI cable here. I think people will see immediately what I'm switching to.
The Daytona USA on the Dreamcast is my go-to testing game whenever I get a new VGA monitor.
Okay. All right.
Was the Dreamcast popular in Europe?
So here's something I absolutely did not know existed. Here is Taxi 2 for the Game Boy Color. I'm playing on a Mister with an
Oh,
original NES controller through a Damon Byte NES to USB controller. And I think I have to change the resolution in the stream. 1 second. Otherwise, it's going to look all.
Those FMV cutscenes look decent, actually.
Yeah. Nope. Sorry, it's always tricky editing this stuff, live as you go, but there's no easy way to switch resolutions live. Alright, I think I got it. It's going to be mostly centered, but it might cut off a tiny little bit of it, but we'll just have to deal. Alright. So, what do these say? It's gonna take the... Oh, no, yeah, you have the Skype window.
So that's start. Démarrer is start.
And...
UB key? I don't know. That's password. Mode of pass.
Okay, alright.
That starts.
That's pretty impressive for a Game Boy Color, still shot like that.
Exactly. Mo not passed. Okay.
That's kind of impressive. So this is just a very basic racing game. I won't spend too much time on this. I just thought it was really neat that if we're going to play the games in the Taxi series, we get to play another unique, weird, exclusive game that I didn't even know existed. This is, I was testing this out before just to make sure that it was going to work for the stream, and it's a little monotonous, but it's not a bad game at all. If I bought this on a Game Boy Color back in the day, I would have been totally happy with it, just as a fun little way to just play some stuff and kill some time.
What's the purpose actually? I'm not getting it. It's not a racing game, and I'm not sure what you should actually do.
I have no clue either. So it says position 5 of 6. Oh, I think I just passed a car. So it is a racing game?
It's a racing game.
With a very giant windmill in the background.
That's the French cliche, I guess.
And I guess the arrow at the bottom shows you how close you are to the finish line? Oh, you can't see it in the stream?
Actually.
Alright, I'll fix that right after this level. Or if I die, whatever's first.
It's funny how it's in kilometers. Every time I have to play a racing game, I have to change from mile to kilometers. So that's one's already set.
Alright, I'll fix it in the...
Oh, he just said something.
There we go. So now I guess you start in whatever position you left off on? Wow, this immediately got a lot harder.
Wow, you're going super fast. Oh, really?
Whatever I just hit made me go up on 2 wheels? That's cool. And now I'm going... Something must have slowed me down because I went slower. And it wouldn't speed back up. Probably should have downloaded the instruction manual for this. Oh, the arrow must be the car you're
It's not
chasing.
too bad. Oh, right. So top speed is 255. I wish they had. I don't know if you remember in the first movie, they showed he was driving at 300
Mm.
kilometers per hour, and everybody went crazy. I mean, that's Formula One class.
This is kind of a fun little game. Like if I don't usually play on handhelds often, but if I ever find myself just wanting to have some fun on a Game Boy, I would totally throw this on just to kill a few moments. It's kind of like
Do you have any of the
go ahead, sorry.
Do you have any of the Game Boy Color replacement screens?
No, I started testing those a while back, and then I just realized there were so many coming out, I would just spend all my money testing replacements, so I just didn't. I'm hoping somebody's gonna come out with one that just a step above the rest. You know, every option, no screen tearing, no shimmering.
I remember I once wrote a post about the first one actually that came out, and I was crazy. I'm going, this is the first Game Boy Color replacement screen. It's awesome. And then 2 days later, there's another one coming out. And then 2 days later, there's another one.
Yeah, so when there was a lot of discussion as to which one of those is the original and which one is the clone, and it kind of it doesn't even matter at that point because somebody was talking about, you know, after they got cloned, the price dropped so much it was actually cheaper for some of the original people who designed it to just pick up those and do installations and make money that way. So it was kind of an interesting scenario.
Right.
All right, one last one, just to see the difference. Uh, Taxi 3, also on Game Boy Color.
Also by Ubisoft.
I didn't mind the last one at all. I thought that was pretty neat.
Yep.
It's a cool FMV scene.
Is it not the same as the
I think it
second
was.
one?
I think they were all in a row just there, whereas the second one, they were before and after different menus. I could be wrong though. And it's the same game. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Outrun Europa for Game Gear.
Oh wow. This seems to run a bit
It
smoother.
does,
though.
yeah.
So it's not a racing game again.
I can't seem to tell what I'm racing against.
Because I guess they sent you on a mission. That's what I was reading at first. I'm not sure.
Oh.
It said something like bring flowers to someone.
Well, at least I was able to complete levels in these games. Oh, okay. I was supposed to stop and pick somebody up?
Mm-hmm. It says you forgot to stop. Try
Thank
again.
you. Okay, I'll try one more time.
Okay,
Oh, I
so
skipped it. Crap. All right. Well, I'm sure I'll die again soon. But...
it's fine. Yeah, uh, I would like to know what are some good 2D racing games. I've played a lot of 2D games on DOS, but not on consoles. So
Hmm.
I remember Top Gear. Well, Top Gear 2 was good on
Yeah.
Genesis. What else?
Outrun and Daytona were always my favorites.
Sure.
I could definitely tell you which one of the worst is hard driving. Vitor Varela
Okay.
is working on trying to do a patch for that to make the Super Nintendo version a little bit more playable, but it's gonna be one of the worst I've ever seen.
Oh, Chase HQ. Yeah,
Oh, I
that's a
missed
good
the
one.
stop again. Well, that's what I get for not learning French. All right, so I'll I'll let you read the thing now. I won't touch it.
Okay. Okay, so it says to buy flowers and get them to Lily.
Okay, and that's it.
That's it.
All right. So I'll try to pay attention when the words come up on the screen and see if I can stop on time. Did you ever play Rad Racer for the original NES? That
Sure.
you know, that's not one of the best racing games, but I liked it. RC Pro Am was another one I really liked a lot as well for original NES.
Mhm.
Mario Kart, I actually liked the later versions better than the Super Nintendo version, just because of that split screen view that they had going on.
Mhm.
Trying to think. Anybody else in the chat got any good suggestions for 2D racers?
The DS version of Mario Kart is
Yes,
really cool.
agreed.
I like an RC game on the Dreamcast called Revolt. I don't know if someone tried that. F-Zero,
Oh, how
of
did I
course.
forget
That's
F-Zero?
awesome.
All right. I'm gonna give one last try for this, because I saw a stop that time and I just didn't press it soon enough, I guess. So stopping's just
There's a
all right. It takes a few seconds, but just slam on B, I guess.
there's Lotus games as well. Yeah, I remember those on the Amiga actually.
You know, as soon as we stop the stream, I'm gonna remember 20 2D racers that I like to play. How the heck could I have forgotten F-Zero? That's such a good game.
I like how in the 90s every company had a game, like Ford had a game, uh, uh, Porsche had Need for
Yeah.
Speed. Uh, there's a Dodge Viper game actually.
Is there really?
Yeah, it's called Viper Racing, I guess.
My friend had Need for Speed for PC, and our favorite thing to do was to get the, I think it was the Alpine level, but you get the Lamborghini and you get going as fast as you can, and you could actually make the car jump. All right, I stopped, and it said go. That's all that was.
Okay.
That's a little...
Oh, there's your flowers right there.
But yeah, that was... well,
Yep, Jaguar.
we
on
liked the
the-
racing game.
on the
Just
Sega
getting it
CD,
to
actually.
jump was the only thing I ever... That was our favorite thing. I can't remember playing Jaguar on the Sega CD. I must have, though.
That's an okay game.
I'm just waiting at any moment now for there to be a stop thing flashing on the screen. I'm like trying to be hyper aware of it.
Oh, someone mentioned the N64. I love the N64 for its racing game library, honestly. It's really, really
Cruis'n
good.
USA is the only game I really enjoy playing on the N64. People get so mad at me. I never liked that
Um,
console that much.
there's Cruise and Exotica as well. That's really good on the N64.
Definitely.
And Top Gear Rally is awesome as well.
I should give that a try. I don't think I ever have.
You know, everybody used to complain about the N64 controller. I find it to be just perfect for racing games.
Yeah, it never bothered me for Cruis'n USA at all.
Okay. So, oh, that's your password, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, so it says pick a passenger up and take him to the airport.
Okay.
That's what the Dreamcast game should have
Yeah.
been about.
Yeah. I wish there was a combination of this game and the last game we just played for, the Taxi 2 for Game Boy Color. Like, it should be a racing game that has crazy taxi elements in it. Oh, and I missed the stop thing.
Oh,
All right. Well, I think this was absolutely awesome. I got to experience Taxi for the Sega Dreamcast, a game I absolutely didn't even know existed until now. And I just super appreciate the team that took the time to do that. Oh, look, we have a visitor. What's your cat's name?
that's
Merlin.
Merlin.
Love it. So before I go, any questions in the chat from anybody? Anybody have anything about the game, about the Dreamcast, about anything that we were just doing? Um, we'll hang out for a minute. Oh, I think mine froze. Yeah, my chat froze, and I just there we go. Just reloaded it all. Well, thanks very much for coming and doing this, Ronnie. Oh wait, how are you playing the GBC games? Sorry, late to the stream.
Sure.
Yeah, just through a Mister, and I have the RGB output going to a 20L5, and let's see if I can, and the other output going to my Epiphan DVI to USB capture card. Hopefully that came out decent enough. Um,
You know, about the Dreamcast, actually, someone asked me a few days ago, um, is the DC digital any better than going through an OSSC? Like, and my reply was, if you're a huge Dreamcast fan, then yeah, go ahead and get a DC digital one. And number two, if you're a streamer or you want to capture footage, then again, definitely get it. But as far as playing on a flat TV or flat screen TV or RGB monitor or a VGA monitor, I should say, it's not gonna make any big difference. Am I
I
right?
think you absolutely nailed it. I think for your average person playing, at least now, at least at this time, just getting a cheap VGA cable and going into a cheap VGA to HDMI converter is a pretty decent solution. I think those cheap $20 cables you'll see on Amazon, not a good solution, but it doesn't add lag, so it'd be the equivalent of buying a really bad VGA cable and a really bad analog to digital converter, but it won't add lag, it just adds
Exactly.
interference. However, getting a good quality cable and going into an open source scan converter, you could also do line doubling to 960p if your TV supports it, but you miss out on the HQ2X smoothing. So it's just one of these things where if you just want to play Dreamcast games in a way that doesn't stink, just pick up a VGA cable and a cheap converter, and it's totally fine. But if you, I agree 100% with you. If you love the Dreamcast, or when the time eventually comes when we start to get scalers that can go from 480p to 4K and beyond, that's, I think, when people are going to start to see the
Right.
differences. Because if you take an analog video signal, scale it to 960p, and then let your TV scale that to 4K, it's not going to be a huge difference. But if you take a true digital signal and scale that direct to 4K versus an analog signal, especially when 8K TVs become mainstream, I think that's really when you're going to start to see a noticeable difference. But yeah, I think you
Right.
nailed it though. Ash is in the chat. I was waiting for the 4K comment. Tony Morrow, if only HD Retrovision could get that Dreamcast cable released. Yeah, I know. I bust their chops about that every chance I get. I'm looking forward to it as well. It solves a bunch of problems, so well, hopefully that'll be out kind of soon. But I've been saying that for 5 years. So, um, Nelson Painkiller says they output Dreamcast via SCART, but some games have a problem with that output. Yeah, and depending on what cable you're using, that could be locked to 480i and 240p only. So it sometimes is a good solution and sometimes isn't. The cable from Retro Access with the switch in it is definitely a good way to go, because you could use all modes and it's a very shielded cable. The one from Retro Gaming Cables is good too, but it has problems with certain PVMs and BVMs. Actually, no, doesn't have problem with PVMs, only certain BVMs because of the sync combining circuit. Um, but I mean, if you're going through an open source scan converter, that's not going to matter, or 20L5 like this one. So that's kind of cool.
I use the Toro for to solve the SCART problem
That's
actually.
yeah,
I got a SCART cable in my Toro and then another VGA cable, and that solves it for me actually.
that's a perfectly good solution. The Toro is always something I forget to talk about because I've had mine for so long that I often concentrate on the newer solutions. But yeah, it's still a great box for people that want all those different options, especially anybody that needs extra scan lines
Yep.
or anything like that. There's many different ways to do scan lines nowadays, but that's still a method that people seem to prefer depending on their setup. Powerhouse wants to know what's the difference between a BVM and a PVM. So professional video monitor and broadcast video monitor. PVMs were when you needed extra detail, you needed something that could be left on 24/7, and you sometimes, in most cases, need direct RGB input to add more detail to a tube that already has more lines in it. Broadcast video monitors needed to be even more exact than that with calibration controls that can get it near perfect, because that's what was used to calibrate movies and TV shows. So that way you know the color's always right, you know the angle's always correct. But much like the difference between a Corvette and a Lamborghini, a PVM you could throw anything at it as long as it's compatible with the main signal. So 240p, 480i work on all of them. 480p work on some of them, the L series, but they're just workhorses. They're meant to just do whatever or take whatever you throw. But BVMs are more precision instruments and they're a lot more sensitive in certain setups. So it takes, there's more calibration options, but there's also a lot more that can go wrong. And then you run into weird issues like Dreamcast has sync problems, and PC Engine and Master System on certain model BVMs also do as well. And so you're getting into a lot of stuff. They're more expensive, they're more work, they're harder to set up sometimes, but if it's just like cars. If you really love it, it's totally worth it. And if not, get a PVM or just a scaler. Grab an OSSC or a RetroTink and just don't worry about any of this ever. What monitors do you have, Ronnie?
Or a VGA
Yeah,
monitor.
exactly. What monitors do you have now?
I have the PVM 20L2. I have a PVM 14-inch that I've completely forgot its the series name. It's a very old one. It's a white
Oh, right.
PVM. Um, it's and it's not an MD series. And I have a Nokia 21-inch VGA monitor, and I absolutely love
Oh
it.
man, I bet you that is really good.
It's amazing, and it's not a flat glass monitor.
Good.
It's curved. So yeah, combined with the OSSE, it's a dream setup.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm playing on the 20L5 because this has been my go-to monitor because it accepts every resolution. It's easy to use with the videos. But if I had a bigger place,
Exactly.
I actually would be specifically playing Dreamcast on a VGA monitor. And there's some, Jose has a
Yep.
Diamondtron, I believe, that it's one of the best looking
Mhm.
CRTs I've ever seen in my life, rivaling BVMs for 480p stuff. And so if I had the choice of playing different consoles on different monitors, I absolutely would be playing the Dreamcast on a 21-inch VGA monitor just to get that exact look that you could see in the high-end monitors from when the Dreamcast was out.
Exactly. I would actually add the Xbox as well.
Agreed. Um, Although depending on the model TV, some of those widescreen CRTs look really good with that Xbox.
Mhm.
And in fact, I have one I just picked up. I found it on Craigslist for a reasonable price, and it's sitting at my in-laws' house. So I'm going
Oh wow.
tomorrow with the Time Sleuth and with my Sega Nomad to test it out and see how it works. So depending on how it performs, that might actually be a great choice for the Wii and original Xbox.
But is it a
I
Sony?
believe this one's a Panasonic. I hope someday I'm able to get a house, a
Okay.
small house. I don't have big aspirations to live in a mansion or anything. I only need a house slightly bigger than the apartment, but I want a basement that is as big as, as the house, that I could just line up tables. Doesn't have to look nice, doesn't have to be heated. I just want to be able to line up a whole bunch of folding tables that I could get for free somewhere and set up a bunch of different monitors and have consoles match the monitor that I think represents the console the best. So like the original NES I might use with an RGB mod, but on an older mid '80s PVM. Like I have this weird
Hmm.
like retro looking TV that's called a Brian Vega, and it's made to look like the '60s TVs. So I'd love to put an Atari 2600 up to that. I'd love to just leave my N64 unplugged. And no, I'm kidding. Sorry, N64 fans. I'm gonna get. If Destiny was in the chat, she'd already be like, "Fuck you, I love it." But yeah, I think that would be really neat to just line up consoles to match the perfect monitor to use them on. And even for streaming, rather than spending a half hour setting all this stuff up, I could just walk my laptop up to each station, plug stuff in, and just start going. So that'll be a goal in the future, I guess.
That would be super awesome. I have a question for you. Do you think that BVM monitors, especially the D series, um, do you think that they too sharp?
That is an excellent question, and I plan on doing a video about this, but I'll probably have to rent the equipment, but I need to get the best type of camera to shoot CRTs so that you could see the details without any of that moire pattern, that weird circular effect that happens.
Right.
But it's my
Yep.
opinion, and this is just an opinion, so I'm not, do whatever your eyes prefer. But I think once you get past a certain line count, it gets to be so detailed that you lose the feeling of a CRT, and you get the detail of a flat
Mhm.
panel, but with all the shortcomings of a CRT. So, the horizontal scan lines are still there, but you can't see the detail of. I know vertical scan lines don't exist. It's the mask of the tube. It's just a term that's easy to describe it, but you don't get to see the rest of the mask. You don't get to see the vertical scan lines, but you do see the geometry a little off, and there's that weird wave effect when you're scrolling. That's that. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's I have one of the 1000 TVL 20-inch monitors, and it's amazing, but it's a little too detailed. I think my favorite monitors that I've ever used were a 20 M2U Jose actually recapped and calibrated it for me, and I was blown away at how good it looked. It was bright and perfect. Um, and you could see the whole mask of the TV, or I guess the bigger the monitor you go. So I have the consumer grade JVC. It's actually also called D series. It's written right on the top. And those are supposedly 800
Right.
TVL, but if you use the 27 or 32-inch versions, you still see the full mask. So it's just my opinion that I actually prefer a BVM, but at a lower line count. So the G series or the I just mentioned it, 20M2U. And I actually sold mine.
That's 800 TV
I
lines,
believe
the M series, right?
the 20M2U I believe is 600 line, and the 4U is 800 line. I
600.
could be wrong about that.
Right,
And I
right.
think this 20L5 is a 900 line monitor. And even now, like as I'm as I'm looking right up to it, like I have to get. I mean, I'm two fists away from the screen before I could actually see the mask and see the detail between any of the vertical lines that go down. Whereas, sitting about this far away, just, it's a little more than arm's length, you'd be able to see it on the other ones. And I think the mask that cuts up the image is really what gives the CRT that depth, and especially with games, not so much with movies, but I definitely that is what my eyes prefer. But I mean, who knows? I'm pushing 40. If I was 20 and had perfect, I mean, I think my eyesight's still perfect, but maybe my eyesight's going. And if I was 20, I would prefer the higher line because I'd be able to see it at this far away. Who knows? But that's just certainly where I'm at the moment. All right. Well, this was an absolute blast. Thank you for taking the time to do this, Ronnie. I really appreciate this. I would not
Oh,
have been
thank
able to
you.
get through the other games without you because I don't speak French. So it's definitely necessary. As always, thanks to everybody in the chat. And if I missed any super chats, I apologize. I was trying to pay attention. I think I got them, but this was really cool. And I'll leave this up here for anybody that wants to experience the taxi games. And I'm actually even really glad that we played a minute or two of Crazy Taxi and Daytona just as contrast, because I think playing it right after Taxi really
Exactly.
like, kind of cemented our thoughts on that. So,
Yep,
all right. Well,
exactly.
thank you to everybody, and of course, thanks to the team that translated it. It might not have been the best game I ever played, but I appreciated the experience very much. So we'll see you all next time.